France, false. France, false. France, false. France, false. It's hard to imagine how turbulent a relationship between the United States and China until you heard we have no lasting friends, no lasting enemies, only lasting interests. By Britain ex-Prime Minister Winston Churchill. This famous quote has revealed the sense of international relationship for any country anytime in the world, including the most important one in the 21st century, the United States and China. Today, you probably always heard of all kinds of intense conflicts, news between these two countries, but you probably don't know they used to be friends to work together on many issues. Actually, for now, still on some issues. Why bilateral relationship has been experiencing dramatic ups and downs in the last half a century. Objectively, let's go through all turning points and discover their reasons behind to capture a whole picture. Ready? Go! From foes to friends. The World War II has changed the most countries' national face, including the United States and China. After the World War II, the United States have grown into one of the top international leaders, which allied with Western European countries. To the United States, then, China was only a remote and mysterious developing Asian country, which once asked help from it to fight against Japan and the North Alliance invasion. On the other side of the Pacific, China, like many other traditional and developing countries in the Third World, has spared no efforts to discover its modern independent way. Until 1949, when People's Republic of China has established and the role of Communist Party, it found its way ideologically and geographically in favor of the Soviet Union, the United States' enemy later in the Cold War. Interestingly, the United States, the Soviet Union, and China. This triangle relationship has changed in the early 1970s in order to contain the Soviet Union. At the moment of breaking up between China and the Soviet Union, the United States cleverly decided to seize this opportunity and build official normal relationship with China. Since then on, the United States and China has turned foes into friends, and later they have shared the friendship fruits happily. During this phase, for the United States, such diplomatic alliance has successfully played against the Soviet Union for two significant strategic outcomes. One was a geographical deterrence to the Soviet Union. Another one was a complete triumph in the Cold War in 1991, which made the United States the solo superpower in the world later. For China, in the same year of diplomatic normalization with the United States, mainland China replaced Taiwan to become the official member of United Nations. Also, such strategical pivot to the United States has helped it to open diplomatic doors with more countries and major international organizations, such as World Bank and MIF, which was coincidentally and perfectly aligned with China's new domestic historical development target, reform and opening, after the messy Cultural Revolution. Objectively, during this period, the friendship building between two countries have become the best example of an international win-win deal. Unequal friends. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, Sino-US friendship has turned politically one into more economic one. With the increasing wave of globalization, many industries in the United States tend to seek for cheap raw materials, cheap workforce, and potential market. On the other hand, with the reform and opening policy, Chinese government and the people desire to explore the Chinese rich natural resources, train intelligent Chinese workers, learn science and technologies, do business, and to finally become rich. As a result, the win-win deal has played perfectly. Both manufacturing industry and the information industry from the United States did find this massive market in business interest in China. Big giants. Numerous corporations from the United States and other developed countries have built their sections in Hong Kong and mainland China. Every container along beaches of China's long coast carries not full of goods, but remarkable interest for both sides. In many allies' eyes, both from the United States and China, the economical cooperation is the anchor of bilateral relationship. Moreover, students' exchanges programs have remarkably thrived, and the number of students who go abroad for studying and working have once reached a historical peak. Of course, the United States had been the top destination, but these were not enough for the whole. As a solo superpower, never has the United States given up criticism on human rights issues and religious freedom about Xinjiang province, Tibet province, and others, and freedom of speech issue on mainland China. Also, never has it stopped selling weapons to support Taiwan, which is one counter-political player against mainland China about a territory dispute. During this phase, from the United States side, this political criticism results from civilized Western standards and a proud promotion about the United States' successful democratic symbol after the Cold War, which similarly happens on other developing countries in South America, Middle East, Africa, and so on. Also, in the United States' eyes, China's economic rise should thank to its help for allowing it to participate into WTO and other international games. Furthermore, Chinese graduates with the United States university's degrees who choose to go back should have become allies to make contribute to China in the United States way. From China's side, on one hand, China admired the United States' absolute power and did reforms domestically to embrace partial capitalism. Skyscrapers, highways, infrastructures, world factories, and the foreign language schools, incredible trade revenues. All these rapid developments are the best evidence. On the other hand, as a traditional but developing country who once experienced contemporary foreign inventions, all serious criticism and weapon trade for more than last 40 years are regarded as foreign interference and challenges on sensitive domestic issues, including territorial integrity and national security and social stability. Objectively, during this period, the relationship between the United States and China experienced a strategic change but remained a subtle balance. Although politically and ideologically China has not followed the collapse of the Soviet Union, but continued to seek its own developed way, the United States and China have cooperated and worked together economically, particularly when the United States suffered a financial crisis during 2007 to 2009 and asked help from China. Even then, some experts in the United States think tank once proposed G2 concept for the both to be the world leaders for others on global issues, from friends to foes. In reality, never had G2 really happened, but rather the moment when China thought its province deserved the G2 concept in 2018, the United States has just announced China as its top enemy. Obviously, objectively, in contemporary modern history, never has China become so significant and highlighted in international communities until the day when it was labeled as the United States' top enemy, which was against China's will though. Rome has not been built in one day. From friends to foes, this time for both sides, such dramatic relationship has experienced a series of fundamental but profound changes since the Great Recession. During this phase, For the United States, its superpower has been declining due to ever worse financial crisis, increasing income gap between the rich and the poor, shrinking of the middle class, increasing victim of manufacturing industries in the wave of globalization, huge military expenditures on overseas military bases, and hot wars in Middle East and so on. On the other hand, in the face of China's rise at a credible speed, its foreign policies to China have switched from Asia pivot strategy with ambiguous attitude towards China in Obama's term to today's ever-clear threatened and hostile one. Especially when China has reformed it into a national capitalism economically and has changed its democratic presidency system politically in 2018, which are against the United States' expectation. For China, its remarkable economical success has boosted itself to enhance its international and cultural influence in the world ever in modern history. As an independent country, China takes granted for its national revival. After all, it used to be a significant power in the ancient time, and those historical glory remains of its modern mission all the time. Today, the weaker Western economical and financial system are, by contrast, more powerful. China's prowess appears, and modern China has manifested its ambition in many ways and plans more in future in its 2050 goal. Objectively, during this period, bilateral relationship has deteriorated rapidly ever in almost all aspects. Politically, after breakout of coronavirus in China in 2020, two sides have been working hard to avoid unregional conflicts as much as possible. A series of trade wars, financial wars, cyber wars, human rights criticism, and territorial dispute issues continue to play a role. Also, cultural exchanges, including foreign media stock work, intellectual work, and many cooperative academic programs have diminished rapidly, even some come to end. From foes to friends, then from friends to foes. These three relationships swapped during different historical periods in the last half a century have indicated that two countries' national interests change in terms of their changing national prowess, like many other powers in international relations in history. On the United States side, China, as another rising power after the Soviet Union, Japan, Iraq, Europe, and others after World War II, has become a challenging and controllable and rival nation, which has grown incredibly against the United States' expectations by taking advantage of the United States' previous help. In China's eyes, the United States is the strongest but a declining solo superpower who has been never understanding China's rival dream and peaceful ambition in his own modern ways. As an independent developing country, due to China's ancient proud glory and modern forbearing insults by foreign inventions behind in modern history, in foreseen future, the globe will see their ever radical rivalry. Even many people have regarded it as the new Cold War. But whatever you think their bilateral relationship on whatever political stances, wherever you are, whoever you are, please remember, the United States and China mustn't wage hot wars. Why? Subscribe my channel, watch my next video.